Hi, welcome back. So, this is just going to be my March reading wrap up. We're already in April right now, and so far in England, or rather in London per se, it's been really, really nice in terms of like the weather, everything that I'm just like, ooh, like everything's out. People are just having a better mood. I'm just being a bit jolly, even though I'm sweating profusely. So, I read in March a whopping 15 books. Bear in mind, I kind of only read like one, two, three, four physically, and the remaining one were all audiobooks, but that's fine. So the first one I read was Quicksilver by Callie Hart. So I feel like this is like the type of book that if I had read it back in 2020, 2021, around the height of like fae romanticy, it's still popular now, but like around that time I would have really have loved it. It's essentially about this like girl who doesn't really know about her powers. Then she meets this one like brooding man that's always like, this, that, and they form love, and there's also different types of things. So Quicksilver is kind of the generic like romanticy type of architecture like structure, so I gave that one 3 stars. It was okay, it wasn't bad, it was just okay. Then I also read Bloom by Delilah S. Dawson. I gave that 3.75. It's essentially about this like woman who moves to this new town, trying to figure herself out. She's doing her PhD, also like a lecturer, and then she meets this one beautiful woman at a farmer's market, kind of hitting it off. But at the same time, you're just like, just because this woman's a woman and she's very attractive and everything, does not mean you should not have stranger danger feeling. Because bear in mind, is also like, oh, she finds out that she does like women, which I'm just like, I mean, lovely that you got here, but now you have to figure a way to get out. But it was interesting. I also then read Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales by Heather Hawkett. I gave this one 4 star overall. Like the entire series, I really, really enjoyed it, to be fair. And I don't know, it feels like something that is very good for like the autumny, like springish time, and also like if you like fairies. Though to be fair, I didn't like this one as much as I liked the other both two, because I feel the other two were a bit more whimsical, whereas this one was kind of just like wrapping things up together, and you're also like were expecting more whimsical, but you didn't really get that. But it was still good. Then one of the books that also surprisingly surprised me was The Rage of Dragon by Evan Winters. I gave this 4.75. It was also like really interesting. So we're basically following our main protagonist. His name's Tao. And so Tao doesn't have it easy because obviously he was born into the lower class of the society where he's basically essentially raised. And so because of like an event, his father obviously like passes away or is rather murdered in order to save Tao's life. And from there, Tao goes into like a fit of rage, anger, revenge story, tunnel vision. Like, you see me as someone lesser, bet I'm coming for you and coming for all your family. And I was just like, I don't know why this is going on, because there was gladiators, dragons, like deception, interesting side characters, and also like there's also Udwak in the book. And honestly, Udwak is like, you're a scary man, and I'm just like, really, really enjoyed it. So it was also one of the books that I genuinely enjoyed this year as well. Like part of like Q1, I was just like, yeah, this is going to be a Q1 favorites of the year already. Then I then read God's Children Are Little Broken Thing by Arinze Ife Kandu. And this is essentially a anthology of like 9 stories following like different men in Nigeria, and it's also following the queer experience for queer Nigerian men, and like different types of things, to like young boys figuring themselves out, adolescents, to like fathers who have like a whole on like family sneaking around trying to meet young boys, and like love, and also like family love, motherly love, letting go, grief. There was so much in this that made me just feel so sad. Like from all the books, I ended up really, really enjoying, because I'm trying to like figure out how to show it to you. It was like Where the Heart Sleeps, God's Children Are Little Broken Things, Alobam. Honorary favorite was like What Singers Say About Love. That was the one that I was just like, if not for the things that's going on, because that was actually quite sweet. And then Mother's Love, like I saw this one years ago, but I didn't want to pick it up, and I was just like, I should have picked it up earlier, because there was a lot of this that I was just like, yeah, I understand that. Sure, I'm not a queer Nigerian man, but I can definitely understand like where they're coming from, and like the characters as well. Even though like I was just thinking like, yeah, but I still recommend the book, to be fair. I gave this also, I gave it 4.25. Then I also read like the second installment. So it's called The Fire of Vengeance by Evan Winter. And this is like taking off from what left in the first book. There's so much more with actually finding out what the hell is going on. Also, like, now that there is obviously now like a full on civil war going on between them, and how like he has to like obviously change himself, not really how do you say it, he's not really controlled by anger or like vengeance as much as he used to be. However, is more like knowing that, oh, there's a lot more. And when I tell you the amount of people that like get literally slaughtered left, right, and center, I was just like, oh, you should don't do that. Could you not kill them off, please? um and then the next book I read that was also like kind of like a pleasant surprise, because I was not even really knowing what I was going to expect, was Who Fears Death by Nnedi Okorafor. I gave this 3.75 stars. We're basically following our main protagonist, who obviously like there's so much going on right now where they are living from Far East. This takes place from like Central Africa all the way to West Africa. Like there's like a full on like, it is driven from the part that there's this young girl who obviously like there's a prophecy and she doesn't know about the prophecy. Her mom's doing different types of things that's going on. There is like magic, but also a belief system, and also like religion plays a good part in this, and also like these type of things that what she has to sacrifice. But the amount of like sexual assault that goes on to the book, I definitely recommend you checking the trigger warnings for it, because a lot of the times I was there like, for the love of God, why is all these things happening? But it was so interesting, and so far, Nnedi Okorafor's books I've never like, I've liked all of them so far. So do with that as you will. Then I read The River Has Roots by Alma El Mortar. So she's the same author that wrote what is it? Where the Time Stands Still, or oh no, This Is How You Lose a Time War. That's the book that she wrote. So basically in this one we're basically found these two sisters who, and this book is really like whimsical. It's also slightly like a loose retelling of another like tale, and also this like thing of like love, letting go, language, the beauty of language, if language itself could be magical. And then also we're following Esther and Isabel, and Esther is also like, because she has like this suitor that she doesn't really want, because she's fallen in love with this like fey being who doesn't really, you can't really say if they're a man or a woman, but they always appear to Esther as a woman. So I'm just gonna say it's sapphic. I know it might not be sapphic, but I don't care. It's in my head it's sapphic, so do it with that as you may. I gave this one bear with me, I gave it a whopping 3.75. It was good. I really still enjoyed it, and I also annotated a bit out of it. So I don't know, this one is something like, I guess you might as well just go into this completely blind and see where it takes you. I then afterwards read A Diary of Blood by S.T. Gibson, because I've been seeing this for a long time. What mostly sold this for me was essentially is vampires, gloomy, gothic, polyamory. I will say it sold, do not care, sold. And so we're basically following our main protagonist and Constanza. And Constanza doesn't obviously not have it easy. She's basically telling the story of how she ended up killing her master, Dracula. He's not really named most of the time, but honestly, I've been reading a few Dracula retellings, all this type of thing, and I just feel to come to know, I've not even read the first, like the original one, the classic, but this man's a narcissistic prick. I'm so sorry, but like, I would just like, a lot of things are making more. Even here, he was just like, I was just like, this narcissism, like, oh, he'll say things about you and then be like, oh, he didn't even like you anyway, it's just because I was not there. I was like, bitch, the fuck is wrong with you at your grown ass age? You. Anyway, as I was trying to say, it was definitely very interesting, and like even like all the other characters, their love, the understanding, and the sadness that's going on, and also like just being like, you were promised one thing, you got the thing, however it was not as it was said. Like it's kind of like when you're reading like all this like contract and you don't read the fine print. That was basically what this was going on, which I was just like, yeah, no. But do with that as you may. I gave that one a whopping 4.25. I then read The Year of the Witching by Alexi Henderson. And so it's essentially about this like girl who is in this one community, who the community is messed up to begin with. It's like, oh, they're talking about like, oh, purity, God this, God that, and different types of like, oh, the priest has multiple wives and impregnates them, and just like, I guess it's because like if you've never known anything other than this will make sense. But in my head I was just like, that man is a pedophile. I don't care what you say if he's the one that God speaks to. I was like, the fuck is wrong with this? No. And there was so much more going on with the story, but like it was still very interesting. I should have read this around the autumn time, but it's just because like my library had it and I was just like I wanted to read it. But it was kind of weird. So 4 stars. I also read Storm of Secrets and Sorrow by Melissa K. Reolish. I gave this 3 stars. It was better than the first book. The first book I gave 2 stars. It's essentially still the same thing. Mostly it's more that the entire character cast were pissing me off. The male main character, the one that has like, was it fire magic or dragon? I don't know what that guy does, but he's an infuriating prick. I don't care for him. In fact, most of his like, oh, my dad did this, my dad did that. I did not give a shit because I was just like, you are essentially your daddy's son. Like, I don't care. Like, F you and F all of you and even F the other guy too. I didn't care. And the mailman protagonist, I was just like, you are more stronger than all of them. You're just weak-willed. Okay, every character can be different. It is not that, they can't be weak-willed. But I was just thinking, girl, no. And then I was just like, you're just a glutton for pain because like this man does not love you. He has showed you multiple times he does not love you. Everyone is using you, and then you're just like, oh, but I still love him. Bitch, if I don't, you don't, this is the problem. You don't have no good friends, because if I was your friend, I would slap you across the face. Exactly. No, 3 stars. No. I then ended up like, because of like, I have the other, the 4th book, because the author is continuing the book. So is the All for the Games one here. So the first one I read was, the Foxhole Court, then the Raven King and the King's Men. They were all quite still really good. Like I feel like the first 2 I gave this one 3 stars, 3.5, and 4. And it's essentially we're basically following our main protagonist, Neil, who's at the run because of like, he thought the entire time him and his mom was running away from his dad. Turns out there's a completely different things going on, and basically found family, trying to let things go, finding out that okay, it's okay to do different types of things and find your own way. And then there's also Andrew who has like a drug addiction, and there's so much more different, there's a lot going on, but like it's essentially found family, sports, also like having to like deal with different types of things. And there was also a scene which I was just like, ooh, that's your own brother you shot in the head. Oh well, it is what it is. And then I guess to say the last book I read, I was also very much surprised this month, is Krampus the Yule Lord by Brum. It's Brum? Yeah. And so it's essentially about like this like 2 like Claus and Krampus who had a fight when they were a lot younger. It's obviously like Norse mythology and like gods. And so there's then this one boy or young man, I don't know if he's like 26, 27, because he's quite young, and he's like, his wife and daughter are now living with this one man that is old enough to be their dad. And there's so much going on. There's like fights, and there's like different types of things going on within that. There's obviously corruption going on, and the guy trying to figure things out. And then it's essentially like this story that even the Yule Lord, the entire time when he gets mopey, I'm just like, in a way you thought the guy was an asshole, but at the same time it's just like he just wants to spread like happiness and Yuletide. And I thought it was also quite interesting because in Germany as well, I would see sometimes, especially if you went to all this like further down south to villages around that time, they would actually have like this like demonoid like beings walking around the streets, like sometimes even smacking kids across the buttocks. And I didn't understand what that is, but it actually was a Yuletide like festival. It is essentially loosely predates Christmas by a couple 100 years, I believe. And it was actually quite interesting. I gave that one 4.25 stars, and it was actually quite surprising because in the same time, like, you were just like sad that it actually ended, but it also was like kind of good, like it did end at some point. So those are all the ones that I read in March. And so far for April, I don't really have that much I need to read because like I have like university stuff that I need to finish. Have I started anything? No, but I will be finishing everything soon. It's fine. So all the other things that I do plan on reading this month isn't a lot because I have a few that I'm going to be rereading. And I'm also right now I'm reading Hijab Butch Blues. I'm actually quite enjoying it, to be fair, because of that book as well. I also want to like pick up the Quran just to like read it. purely just out of interest, really, and also because like I've also wanted to read it, but I never did. So I'm about to finish this one. I'm gonna be finishing today is Angel and Man. Honestly, it is so sad that this is coming to an end. I have annotated so much from this so far, and this series has a special place in my heart. To be fair, even though sometimes I'm just like, it is so unique, but also at the same time so sad, and there is so much going on, and I'm just like, why are you making me care so much for biblical characters? Or would I say characters? No, not actually characters, because some of them actually did exist at some point. I hope that's not blasphemy. Anyway, almost done with this one. I will also be rereading Angel Before Man because I really just want to annotate it. I read this already. I gave this 4.75 stars. Honestly, this could be a 5 stars for me, but I just want to reread it. This one is sapphic. I saw it on TikTok. It looks pretty, and you had me sold at sapphic. Then there is Aristotle and Dante discover the secrets of universe by Benjamin Allery, and his last name. I want to just reread this again. Then there's the Gilead stories. I love the American edition because the UK edition was quite ugly actually. And then there's also Lagoon by Nnedi Okorafor. I'm trying to get through most of her books because I just really like all the sci-fi, and it's almost most of her books are very like West African heavy, and I just really like the way she writes her stuff, and her characters are quite enjoyable actually. Then there's a few more other ones that I do want to read. So after reading Angels and Man, I do want to read Horn of Hell by Raphael Nicholas. This is Rosier's story, and I adore him so much. He's like a romantic. Okay, he's not perfectly specified, but we can definitely tell. And then there's Lie With Me by Felipe Benson. I just really love this because like it's quite lyrical and also kind of bittersweet because it's like a lost opportunity story. And basically the man is meeting his first love's son randomly because they look so similar and there's so much going on, and there's a letter, and I'm just like, it made me cry when I read this last year. So I want to reread it again. Then there's Notes of a Crocodile. I just know this is found families, queer in some way, shape, or form. And look at the cover. This is the first NYRB book I have, so could be good. I don't know. And also the last one. This is the fourth book within the All for the Game series. Is the Sunshine Court by Nora Solvak. So that is all the books I do plan on reading. How was your reading month so far? And I know I never really do this as much. I am trying. But anyway, regardless, if you're still here by the end of the video, thank you so much for still watching my videos. Or if you just stumbled across it, hi, how are you? And yeah, so we'll see how it goes. And I hope you guys are enjoying the year as it's going by. Honestly, I feel like I am. Even though I'm just like, ooh, I'm about to hit a quarter century. Anyway, bye.